So today, I'd like to try to put in perspective the notion of consumption and energy use of Tabor, and put forward the notion that you as Tabor individuals have a tremendous opportunity to impact the actions of the whole Tabor community. I'd like to talk about two separate concepts. One is I'd like to share with you some of the ways certain issues are being addressed on the Tabor campus relative to the built environment. How are buildings being thought of in a better way, that are in a more sustainable way on Tabor Academy's campus? And number two, I'd like to ask you to think a little bit about how you interact with buildings and what is your effect on the environment and on Tabor's facilities as you interact with them on a daily basis. Next slide, please. I'm going to share a few examples of how we impact the grounds on Tabor Academy, what's being done around the campus. We all love green grass. It's beautiful, it's part of the scenery around Tabor. We play Frisbee, we gather and roll around the ground. It's part of the vista and the beauty of Tabor. But the process of keeping green grass pollutes the harbor. Chemicals and fertilizers, pesticides are the primary source of pollution in our harbors. So we don't often make that connection. And the result of the chemicals and pollutants is a loss of biodiversity. I was lucky enough to grow up in Marion Harbor and play around these shores when I was younger. And we used to be able to walk down the pier outside of Hoyt and pull a bucket of blue crab out in about 10 minutes, which were great eating. We boiled them up and eat them. Right now, you go out there and you can hardly see any blue crabs. And that's a result, I believe, of this kind of loss of biodiversity in the harbor. And the impact of a lot of the fertilization of grass at Tabor. The good news is that Tabor has a really great policy and uses all organic products that have a very minimal impact on Sippacan Harbor. The Tabor is really at the forefront of being environmentally conscious to keep the green lawns. Green grass also, next slide please. Green grass also requires irrigation, a lot of water in the green grass. Mostly that water is pulled out of the ground. It's pumped around the lawns to make them green. One innovative thing that we've done on some of the buildings at Tabor is that we collect all the roof water runoff, significant amounts from the fish center, and they're fed through underground pipes back to the irrigation pond. It's like a natural rain barrel on a big scale. And that saves significant amounts of water that are pulled out of the local aquifers. Next slide, please. Some of you may have heard of LEAD as it relates to the Athens Science Center. LEAD stands for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. It's a program orchestrated by the United States Green Building Council, and it's essentially a rating system. It's a system for professionals in my business, in the architectural world, to evaluate building performance and design buildings that are more thoughtfully created, that have less of an environmental impact, that are healthier and better buildings. Many of you may know that the Math and Science Center is a LEED certified building, and in fact, it recently, just this fall, received its accreditation as a LEED Gold certified building, which is a really high level. It's the next to the highest level of certification. So right here at Tabor Academy, you have an example of a very green facility. There's only about 30 of its kind in the state. And so I encourage you to explore that building and learn more about it. But I'd like to share a few of the qualities of that building today. When we're thinking about building buildings, there's often the urge, especially on campuses, to tear down and start from scratch. But one theory we talk a lot about in our work is renovating rather than recreating. It's easier to build new. It's less expensive, but it has a bigger impact on the environment. So when we were designing the Math and Science Center, there was the discussion about tearing the whole building down and starting from scratch because it provided some alternative, some better opportunities potentially. But in the end, we decided to keep it and build on it. And it saved a ton of steel, a lot of concrete, reduced the material sent to the landfill, and it required a lot less energy to construct the building. I also like to think of buildings having spirits, and so by renovating buildings, we're extending the life of those spirits through reinventing them. Next slide, please. LEED and other green building strategies encourage one to think about specifying local and sustainably produced building materials. If you think about a building like this building and look around you, there's millions of parts that go into a building. And we try as best we can to buy locally produced parts to minimize the impact of shipping all the parts to the construction site. A couple of simple examples at the Math and Science Center. We had to cut down some trees to put the new building in its place, or the additions on the building. Mr. Wing cut the trees down, milled them into wood, which became the casework, the display cabinets in the lobby of the building. Another example of locally produced material, which doesn't seem significant, but there's all the drywall, all the wallboard that makes up the walls of the building was mined and produced within 500 miles. And where possible on these local projects, these Tabor building projects, we try to use local contractors and subcontractors to reduce the impact of all the travel associated with constructing a building. Next slide, please. The most effective strategy for improving building performance is an improved envelope, the skin of a building. That takes the form of better insulation in windows. It's not a very high-tech solution. You see on the left some blown-in foam insulation, which is kind of the cutting edge of insulation. It's often invisible. We don't see that energy efficiency moves like this, building better envelopes are going on, but it has a huge impact on the environmental footprint of the Tabor campus. So Mr. Wing, doing these renovation projects around Tabor, is constantly improving the building envelopes to a higher standard. The result is much better, more energy efficient buildings, but you really don't see it going on.